Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm going to show you channel mapping and working with linked groups in the Fairlight page of DaVinci Resolve 17. Now, if that doesn't sound very exciting, this is probably 70 or 80% of all the troubleshooting I have to do is based on making sure that people have the right channels and they're able to access the microphones they need when they're ready to do their work within the timeline. So let's take a closer look right here on these tracks. As you can see, here's my production dialog. Here is an Ada test voice, and then I just have some sound effects, which at this moment I have that track muted. I've kept this simple just so you can get a feel for just the basics. This is my dialogue, and whenever you can, you want to try to keep your dialogue as a mono signal, meaning that it's going to be coming out equally from both speakers if it's stereo, and that means it'll feel like it's coming right out of the center of the screen. And that goes way back to when cinema sound was mono, and the single speaker was directly behind the screen, and it was very easy to follow, just like our televisions used to have a single speaker and the sound always came right out of the middle of the screen, or it seemed that way. And so whenever you would watch the scene, the dialogue was always very grounded right there in the center. Well, can you imagine now that there's stereo and immersive formats, if the dialogue moved around every time someone moved their position on screen, if their sound also followed, how much of a ping pong match that would be for our ears, and we'd be totally tracking people's voices back and forth. If it was an interview, cutting it back and forth, it would drive us crazy, and it wouldn't be very easy to follow. Just as if you were watching a conversation, two people talking, your ears don't go back and forth, right? Their sound doesn't really change. You just see them in front of you, and that's where their sound is grounded in your head. Same thing here. So our goal is to try to get our dialogue to be on a single mono track, and you want the best performance or the best microphone in order to get there. And that's another trick that you may have. For example, in the shoot that I'm doing right now, I have a shotgun mic above me, and I have my lapel mic right here on my shirt, and those two are being recorded separately, and then we can choose which of the two channels we'll use. We won't use them both. We'll choose one or the other, or a blend of the two, right, mixed together. Same thing right here when we're looking at our dialogue tracks. This right here on my timeline, you'll see that we have, right, it says production, and you notice that 1.0 basically means that's a single channel. If I look down here, this Ada track shows that it is stereo, 2.0, or two channels. The top channel is left, the bottom channel is right. And if I look, I notice that I have some empty space in here, which means this sound is only going to play out of the left speaker, and that is going to be an issue. Now, something interesting is this is how we see it on the Fairlight page, because the Fairlight page always tells the story of what's happening in all of the channels within your timeline. But if I were to go to the edit page, and I'm just going to click on this right here to go to the edit page at the bottom of the screen, and you'll notice on the edit page, what does the editor see? I'll just bring this up so you can really focus on the audio. And you'll see the editor only sees clips and tracks, no empty channels, nothing else. There's really no story here to tell what's happening within the channels. When I go back over to the Fairlight page, it's very clear that there's some empty space here. And anytime you have empty space in a track, that's probably not something that you want. So our goal here is to make sure that we found the best performance or the best microphone source that we're using for each clip if needed. And the other one is to make sure that the channels for the particular clips we're using match the track and vice versa. So right now, if I play just the beginning of this, I'm going to play a little bit of the dialogue exchange. You'll hear that Emiliana is going to sound like she's coming equally out of both speakers. That's going to be a mono signal. And you'll also hear Ada's sound, which will only come out of the left channel. If you happen to hear it out of the right channel, your headphones are backwards. So let's try it.
Ada, where am I?
You are in orbit of planet Q-465b.
Can you hear the difference? So one of them sounds like it's coming out of both earphones. If you're listening to a speaker or headphones, you'll hear it coming out of both. The other one, just one side. So if I were to look at all of Ada's track, I can see that there's nothing under there, so it'd be easy for me to just change this track to mono. If you notice, the last clip in this one has an empty channel in the same spot, so I won't miss anything there either. So we'll just come over to the track header, just right-click on that track header and go down to Change Track Type, Mono. And when I do that, it's now a mono track. Anything that was in the lower channels I won't see or hear anymore. It doesn't mean it's deleting information. It's just basically now only going to play the one channel. Okay, and it'll play it out mono. So now if I play this exchange,
Ada, where am I?
You are in orbit of planet Q-465b.
In both cases, we should have a nice even sound coming out of the center or the phantom center between the two speakers. Now, that's great. So far so good. Now, something else that comes up though, as I mentioned, what if you have different microphone sources? I'm going to come down to this green clip, this lime green clip, and zoom in a little bit. If I play this one, I'm going to solo that track and play it.
Plot a course to put me next to him.
If I listen to the voice, if I listen to that sound, and then I listen to another piece of her sound.
Positive. Do it.
I can tell that they're different microphones, okay? And so perhaps, like I said, they're in different positions. This first one that's in this track right here sounds a little bit boxier to me, so I want to get to a different mic source. But as you can see, this is a mono track, so how do I do that? Well, luckily, all of the synced channels, all of the channels that are included with that clip, even if I can't see them, are still there. They're just available through the clip attributes. And so I'm going to just right-click on the clip itself, and we're going to go down to Clip Attributes, which is at the bottom of that contextual menu, and then show those attributes. And when I do that, this will show you what the format is of the clip, mono, and it also shows you which channel you're actually using right now. As you can see, if I click on this, it shows me, wow, I have 8 channels in here to work with. 8. Now, it doesn't mean there's sound in all 8 of those. That just means how that clip happened to be packaged or labeled when it was used. Now, I'm going to cancel out of this for a minute, and instead I want to look at the clip attributes for the last clip. So I'll right-click on that one and choose Clip Attributes from the bottom of the list. And when I bring this up, you'll see this is a mono clip. And if I look, it says Embedded Audio. It only has 1 channel. So depending on what your clip is, some of them may have multiple mic sources, some of them may only have 1. The ADA clips are voiceover, so they may only have 1. And in this case, Emiliana's had 8 on this particular clip. So I'm going to go back to this one, and let's bring those attributes up again, Clip Attributes. And even though it's set to mono, I'm going to look at those different channels, and I realize there's a lot more there. I have no idea which of those channels has the sound I want to use. So instead of trying to guess right here in the timeline, I want to go back to the media pool. Let's look at the actual clip itself. So I'm going to cancel out of this and just say, okay, I'm not going to change it yet. And instead, if I want to find this clip somewhere in the media pool and see what it looks like, I just need to right-click on the clip and choose Find in Media Pool. And if you choose Find in Media Pool, then what that will do, of course, is exactly what it says. It opens the media pool, finds the clip, and selects it. And now I can see the clip right there in my preview player. And I see there's some sound in channel 1, there's sound in channels 4, 5, and 6. But of these 8 channels, there are 4 empty, and there's 4 that have sound. And I can tell exactly which channels have the sound. Now, anytime I see sound on one channel, a few spaces or a space, and then sound on some other channels, I'm going to guess that that first channel is probably the mix from the set, right? The location sound recorders probably did a mix of the best sound at that time. So that's usually what people work with, channel 1. And then 4, 5, and 6 would be different mic sources in this case. So maybe there's several mics positioned around Emiliana for that clip. So I don't know exactly which ones they are. I can just tell by looking at that, that's most likely how that was set up. So what I'd like to do is let's create a timeline from this clip and investigate a little bit further. And this way you can see the channel mapping right in the clip itself. So we're going to select the clip right here in the media pool. It's already been selected. Right click, and I want to choose right at the top of that list, it's create a new timeline using the selected clip. Anytime you make a timeline from a clip or a group of clips, it will match those clip formats and give it to you exactly as it's set up right now. So create new timeline with the clip. I don't care what it's named, and I'm just going to click create. Notice it says it's based on selected media. That's what I want, and create. And so what it just did was it just made a new timeline. There it is with this clip. Shift Z, fit to window, and let's make this a little bit bigger. Now at this moment, I really don't need my monitoring panel at all. I'm going to go ahead and hide my meters, and that way I can focus on what I'm working with. I also don't need the media pool right now. I can always come back to that, so I'm just going to hide the media pool. And let's focus on this clip for a minute. As you can see, exactly as promised, there are the 4 channels of audio within this clip. It's the exact same clip I was working with in the timeline earlier, that lime green one, but now I can actually see the original source material, and I can see indeed there is audio on all of those different channels. Now, the one thing about it is I cannot at this moment select the individual channels. As you can see, I can't adjust the volume on the individual channels, and I can't mute or solo them because they are all connected at this moment as one multi-channel clip. So one of the things we want to do is we want to break these up. Now, I have several choices here. I could just change the format of the clip, or I could break it into a linked group. So what I'll do is I'll show you both methods, and that way you can kind of see and be able to do whatever it is you want to do when it comes to working with your own material. The first thing I'll do is I'll convert this to a linked group. And what that will do is we'll convert each channel to its own separate mono track, and there will be a clip within that track, and all of those will be linked together. They will also have a single fader in the mixer. Let's take a look. I'm going to bring up the mixer first. So you can see over here in my mixer, I have one channel, and that's it. One track, one channel. And as you can see right now, it's panned for 8 channels because that's the type of clip I have. In the track header, if I right click, you'll notice one of my options right there is convert to linked group. And what it will do is it will convert this, and the top track will be the one that you're looking at right now. All the other tracks will be underneath it. So convert to linked group. Just bring this right back. And as you can see, instead of one clip now, I have 8 different channels, 8 different tracks, all of them linked together. And look at what we get over here in the mixer. The mixer is still showing me a single track, even though they're all separate. It's showing me a single track with a single fader. That's an advantage to a link group if you like working with separate mono clips for left and right channels on separate tracks. However, they're linked together with a single fader, and for panning purposes, same thing I have here. You can also tell, let me bring up my meters, that this is linked because you'll see a white bar on the left-hand side that shows they are linked together. And also in the monitoring panel, in the top left here, you'll see this band that shows these are all linked together as well, meaning they will act as if they are a single clip, even though they're on separate track. Now, once I have that, I can individually adjust the volume on each one now, if I needed to do that. However, I cannot disable the different channels yet, and I cannot mute or solo them, even though they are all separate tracks. I notice that I can't mute one or the other. They are all working as a single unit at this moment. So there's one more step I'll need to do if I want to work with these as individual tracks, and that is I'm going to come up to the Fairlight menu and go down to where it says linked group. That is where I'm able to bring up the link group window. And this shows me all 8 channels are linked together. If I select them, each one is a separate track, and I could unlink it right now. And as you can see, it's now unlinked those. They're now individual mono tracks. If I look over here in my mixer, you'll see that my mixer now shows individual mono tracks, one for each of these, as you can see. And all of the panning, if you look at the little pan pots here, the panning is still set for a surround 8 channel or 7.1 clip or mix. And so I actually don't want to have the panning the way it was set. Retaining that is very useful if you're doing finishing work or want to use this for automatically panning your items. In this case, I want them all to just be panned to the center, and so I can reset that very easily. I'm going to just tighten these up a little bit so you can see it. I can swipe down and select all my tracks at once. And if I select all my tracks, one of the things I want to do is I just want to remove the panning. That's it. I just want to take away the panning attributes, basically, on those tracks. And so first I need to select them. And again, I just selected one and dragged down. Right-click. And I'm going to go here to remove attributes. Okay. Once I remove those attributes, I can choose which attributes I actually want to remove from here, and I'm going to say I just want to remove the pan. Okay. Now there's nothing else that's been applied to these, so technically I could remove it all, but I'll just take the pan off and then click apply. And once I do that, notice that the panning has all gone to center for all of these. Now I can actually hear these.
Plot, of course.
All of them are going to be equally balanced. Now it's going to be loud, as you may have just heard, because it's now playing all of them at the exact same time. However, now I can solo them and listen.
Plot a course to put me next to him.
And I can listen to each one individually and decide which
Plot a course to put me next to
which of these microphones I want to use.
Plot a course to put me next to him.
Right? And I can make a more intelligent decision based on what those different mics are. So I can get there. You just need to know how to do that. Now, I've managed to break up that clip into these individual parts, and let's just assume I only want to keep that top channel. Okay, the one in audio 1. Notice that when I select this clip, if I wanted to delete any part of it, they are still linked together. If I select one, I get them all. Why is that? Because they are still linked. Fairlight's trying very hard to maintain the relationship with all of these things because they all started as one clip originally. So what we're going to do is I'm going to unsolo this. And the last thing we need to do is turn off the linking, which you can see with this badge in the corner. That link badge shows that these are acting as a single clip. That's why I can't just select one. So just right click. You may have guessed this by now. The secret is if you're looking for something, try right clicking first. It's probably in that contextual menu. I'm going to turn off the linking, and now you can see here are the individual channels. That's what I actually wanted. And with those individual channels, I could then choose what I want. I can mute independently. I can select these. I can delete the track, all of the channels I don't have any sound in them. I could just select and delete very easily. I can delete any of my empty tracks by right-clicking and choosing delete empty tracks, and they're all deleted. And now what I have left is just the good sound. Okay. Now, would you ever need to go through all of this trouble? Not often, but the idea is knowing that you can access any of your channels anytime. You can change your tracks to anything you need to, when you need to, and you can actually hide, mute, delete, or whatever you need to do. Now watch this. Even though I've selected these, I'm actually going to get rid of all of them except for channel 1. Go ahead and delete those empty tracks as well. And now I'm back to what I started with. However, now I have one mono track with one audio channel in it, channel 1. And if I play this, this will be the mix from the set.
Plot a course to put me next to him.
And this is the one I most likely am going to want to work with. That's what we were using on the others. So I may be done. However, something to be aware of is we never actually delete any of the other channels. So if at any time you actually wanted to get back to a different channel or change it, I could right-click right now, go into Clip Attributes. It's still going to be mono, but now I can say, you know what, I wanted to change it to embedded channel 5 instead. And look, now it's channel 5. There it is. Or I could go back in there and change it to embedded channel 6 because that's the one I actually wanted. And now I'm working with embedded channel 6.
Plot a course to put me next to him.
So at any time, you can change your mind. I can also put this back. If for some reason I wanted to change this to some other type of channel configuration, for example, within DaVinci Resolve, we also have adaptive tracks, which are very useful because an adaptive track will allow you to have odd numbers of channels or whatever number of channels you want to, up to 24 within a single track and within a single clip. And so if you have, let's say you have 7 channels of audio that go into a clip, or you have just 3 and you want to kind of package those together, all you have to do is make an adaptive clip. And I can do that right now. I can select this clip, and I can go, actually, I'll do the track first. Right click, go to change track type, and choose adaptive. And as you can see, I can pick anything between 1 and 24. In this case, let's go with 4 because that's how many channels we have. And now the track is set up for 4. If you're working with an adaptive track, you'll see that it puts the number of channels right there in parentheses. Now the clip itself is not adaptive yet, right? It's just a mono clip sitting here, but I can change it. I'll right click on this clip, go to Clip Attributes, and I can change that right now from a mono clip to Adaptive 4. And I can also make it so it's channels 1, 4, 5, and 6. Click OK. And now if I look at this, I have one clip in one track that has all of the channels that I need. And where this is really useful is if you happen to be the editor. I'm going to go back to the edit page. And you notice, what does the editor see? The editor sees a single clip. So everyone doing picture edit may be able to hear all of the different channels, but they don't realize that they're all in there within that same track. And then when you get over to the Fairlight page and you're ready to do your dialogue editing, you can break these up into separate channels with a single convert to link group, and then you can choose which ones you want to keep, which sound is best for that dialogue, and continue on with your work. So it's a very useful way to work. And at any time, you can change your clips to a different format or your tracks, and you're never deleting any of the channels within that clip at any time, whether it's appended or synced to that particular clip. I'm going to go back to the media pool, right click, and I'm going to find in media pool. Let's just go back to this original clip. And one of the things you can do is you can actually change it right here on the clips themselves before you ever start editing with them as well. So I'm going to go back to the same clip we were just working with. Or actually, let's go to a different clip. I'll go to this one right here. It's slightly different. This one has just 3 channels. And if I want to, I can right click and go to my clip attributes. And for the clip attributes on this one, I can see that this has just 3 channels of audio, 1, 2, 3, and they are in the 2, 3, and 4 positions. So I can go over here and say, I would like to make this an adaptive 3, and I want it to be channels 2, 3, and 4. And that way, those are the only things that I'm going to get with this clip. But in addition to that, I could also say, you know what, I also think I would like to have on this particular clip 3 mono tracks as well, just to make it easier. So I could do that. I can actually add more. So watch this, right at the top, I can say, let's also add mono tracks to the same clip. I'll do 3 because there's 3 channels, and I'm going to choose add. And so this clip will not only have adaptive, but will also have 3 mono tracks also, and I'll just change those to 2, 3, and 4 because that's where the sound is, and click OK. And when I do that, notice that now it's showing me 6 channels of audio because the clip has 6. If I right click and choose create new timeline based on selected clip, it's going to give me exactly what I asked for. As you can see, 1 clip at the top, which is 3 channels, and 3 separate mono clips. So you basically have the ability to set up your clips before you ever start editing any way you want to, whether you want to set them up with mono channels or adaptive, and just set those up right in the timeline. You can even select an entire bin of takes if they've all been recorded the same way with the same mic configuration on the set, and you've done your dailies and they're all synced. You can actually select all of those and change the clip attributes for all of them at once to be exactly what you want to work with before the editor ever starts cutting picture. And that way, when it becomes your turn doing your dialogue editing or working in sound, the channel configurations are exactly what you need. And so what we're going to do is go back to our multi-channel dialogue timeline. I'm going to hide the media pool and then back to the original timeline we were working with. If you recall, I just wanted to change which channel I'm working with here. So I'm going to right click on that clip. And now that you know, we can go to the clip attributes and I can choose exactly which channel I actually want to use. In this case, embedded channel 1, I'll click OK. And it just changed it to embedded channel 1. And so now I have the sound that matches all the others and I can work with those. So that is how you can deal with channel mapping and your linked groups and unlink them also with linked clips and be able to access exactly the channels you want to in the timeline and set up which microphones you're going to be using when you're doing your dialogue editing. So thank you for watching, and now you're all set next time you need to work with channels on your own projects.